Hey guys, here we are. We're going to be starting with the last video in this series today. Should be a lot quicker and should be a lot simpler than the other videos of before. Okay, you'll need the following. You'll need to have watched parts 1, 2, and 3 of the video series. You will need the previous tools from the past videos. You will need these three files: xdevkit.dll, xdevkit++.cs, and xrpc.cs. I'll provide the CS files, but xdevkit.dll itself is found in the Xbox 360 SDK, so I'm not going to link to that. You can find that somewhere on your own, but it is needed to make tools. And you would need xrpc set as a plugin in either dash launch or rgloader. I'll provide this in the description of the video as well. What you'll learn. In this video, you'll learn enough of the programming language C# to make an RTE tool for the Xbox 360 using Visual Studio 2010. I will keep this talk exclusively to what's needed to make tools and glance over everything else. You'll learn how to use the form editor for your tools so they can have a user interface. Okay, there is not a lot to this PowerPoint. A lot of this is just going to be practical. So here's what I'm going to do. File, New, Project, Windows Form Application. Okay, and now we've got a little box right here. What we're going to do is go to Toolbox, click Button, and this is going to be the button that connects the tool to our Xbox 360. I'm just going to type Connect in here, and then I'm going to double click the box. When I double click the box, it gives me a button one click. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to right click this Windows Forms application 11 or whatever number you have. It's going to vary based on what you use. And you're going to add reference, browse, and you're going to find xdevkit. Yeah, that's correct, xdevkit. I'm like half asleep. Once again, I probably should not be doing programming while half asleep, but it is what it is. I just want to get this done. xdevkit, cool, that's added as a reference. Now go back up, right click, add existing item. Now go and find the two CS files I told you about. In this case, xdevkit CS and xrpc CS. Okay. Last thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this text file that I've included in the description of the video. And by the way, your number here, if you're starting on your first, it'll be like 0 or 1. Change the number based on what application form you're on. Otherwise, you can just Control A, Control C, copy all this code over, and that will be enough to make a tool that connects to the Xbox. That is not enough to make a tool that actually works, that, actually does something. That just gets the base started. Now let's bring up a few basic templates here, because this will help us kind of figure out what we're going to do. Let's say we wanted to pop up a text box. It's called a message box, but yeah, let's pop up a text box. Let's make another button. I'll just call it About. Double click on that. You double click on the buttons because that's the action you want to trigger, the code actually working. So I'm just going to call this About. Click on it. And then if you want to type a message box, you just put this in here. And it says your text right here. Simple as that. If you want to make a new line, /n. This could be good for, like, say, an ordered list or something like that. So then, let's say debug, start without debugging, and then I click your text here, and as you can see, 1, 2. Simple enough. Now let's say we wanted to make a button that, I don't know, gave us something useful. Like, let's say infinite money. I mean, not infinite money, no. Let's say infinite ammo, for instance. Let's create a button. Well, no, sorry. Let's create a button that does max money. I'm just going to call this max money. You can go here, edit the text, max money, click on the box, and you see this? You can just copy and paste this right here. What we're going to be using is this little template that I call write to memory, and it does just that. It writes to an area of our choice in memory. So here's how we're going to do that. First off, I found the offset for money earlier. This is it right here. I'm going to replace those Y's. That's our address. And let's say I want it to be max, or like 2 billion. I'm going to type in the full text for that. Notice that for each hexadecimal character, you do OX, the character, comma, and then you continue. Okay, that's how you make a button that just changes something in memory. What if we wanted to make something that we could toggle off and on? Say like ammo. You can make a checkbox. And I'm just gonna title this infinite ammo. Go click the lightning button here and go to, let me make sure that's correct. Yes, it is. And go to check changed. And now what you do is you copy and paste this little code in here. And since this is checkbox 1, I'm going to name this 1. And now let's make an on and an off. So if the checkbox 1 is checked by the player, we're going to turn infinite ammo on. If the checkbox is checked off, we are going to turn the infinite ammo off. So let's see here. Knopping this instruction would be enough to give us infinite ammo. So I'm just going to copy this write to memory thing here again. It doesn't actually matter the spacing, I'm just a little weird and like the spacing looking good. It doesn't actually matter in the slightest. I'm going to take this ammo address right here. And then once again, nop's going to make this infinite. So, and remember, I'm just writing to the ASM instructions here by doing that. Now, let's say I wanted a way, to turn it off. Because, yeah, you're not going to want that on forever. So what we'll do is, for that, you can just write the original instruction. This was the original instruction. Go to ASMH. That's the original. You can kind of copy paste that in. there's a checkbox that'll give us infinite ammo right there. Now, let's get slightly more complicated. What if we wanted to make a selection box? Sometimes things might need to be more than just off or on. Sometimes you might have multiple options, like say in the case of finding ammo. I mean, not finding ammo, like changing the ID of your gun. So I'm going to make a button right here, and this is going to be weird the way I do this. I'm going to make a combo box right here, and this thing is just a drop down. It lets you, this drop down lets you choose different things. So stretch it out here, and you can go and put something like a label over this if a label isn't coming with it. Don't click on the labels. Whoops, you can delete that. Go here, label 1, and I can just call this item of choice. Then if I go right here, find it, there should be something that says collection. Oh, that's why I'm looking at the label. It's like items, collection. Okay, there we go. So let's say I wanted multiple items. Let's just say weapon 1, weapon 2, weapon 3, weapon 4. So that gives us 4 choices instead of the usual 2 that you would have with that. So then what we do is we go to select index changed, click on the inside of that box, and now you can copy and paste sort of your combo box code right here. Considering this is combo box 1, we change the Y's to 1. This is basically just like a sort of universal template. The first item in the list of a combo box is 0. The second item is 1, and so on. So you basically take the first number, so item 1 is 0, item 2 is 1. Take the number, subtract from 1, that's your index. So let's say, here's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to make a button down here. And I'm just going to call this, I'm going to click it because I do want to change what it does. I'm going to call it enable item shop mod. What we're about to do is make a drop-down list that basically we click this button and then we choose something from the drop-down list, and after we do that, it'll give us the item of our choice, or at least what we selected in the machine. So remember how I found the code cave to modify bought items? Well, I'm just going to type that in right here. And by the way, you can name these variables whatever you want. I've just had them as value because honestly I was lazy. Okay, I stated that we were starting the code cave right there. Okay. And then for the code cave, I can just go and compile this stuff right in. And let's say we start at, I don't know, 1. Just enter all this in. And as you can see, you actually have a lot more than just 4 bytes that you can work with. You can just put as many as you want in here. Okay, that's going to get that to work. Now we got to change it so it actually branches to the code cave, because otherwise what we do is not going to do anything. You set the code cave first, and then you set the branch after. Okay, now we set this to that. And in case you're wondering, we're working on a tool for Resident Evil 4. I might have not clarified that. Just know that that's what we're doing. I'm taking the offsets from like the previous videos that we've seen, and I'm just sort of putting them in practice for an example. So that'll enable it whenever we get there, but then we have to go and select the item here. So now, okay, here's what I can do to kind of make this work right. I can change this LI R27 to be something of the player's choice. So I can just do this. Then I can change the LI to say R1. And now I can just copy this into each. And then let's say we make the next one 2, next one 3, next one 4. And now we can choose between weapons 1, 2, 3, and 4. Finally, let's try infinite health. Now, it turns out that the HP address is stored right here for Leon on Resident Evil 4. So I could just make a button and call it like restore health. But you'll see very quickly that this is kind of a crappy way to do it. And that's because for you to have infinite life, you have to constantly have your health up, right? So if you're not pressing the button and you take a lot of damage, you might find yourself dying. But I'll do it just for an example here, just to show you. If we write this to the HP value, we get infinite HP. Simple enough. But as I said, if it's not constantly running and you're not constantly pressing the button, then you can kind of see the problem. You're going to die eventually. You can restore your health as much as you want, but it ain't going to matter because eventually you're going to forget to press the button. So what would actually be better would be to do this. Just make a checkbox called infinite health. And funny enough, you don't even need... So this is going to be a little weird. Usually we associate a checkbox with, the checkbox checked function that we used previously. We're not going to do that this time. Instead, what we're going to do, if we want something to just write over and over and over again to make sure we never die in game, then here's what you do. You go to your toolbox, you find the item called timer. And the interval right here is in milliseconds. So that would execute the code every 100 milliseconds, or make a write to that address every 100 milliseconds. That might be enough to actually cause your computer to lag or have problems. So let's say we do 1,000 milliseconds, and then set the behavior enabled to true. Then we click on the timer, and we go in and add our code for the timer. As I said, this up here will give you infinite health. Will restore your health, but it's not going to be infinite, and it's not going to click enough for you to survive. So let's make it so it would survive. Now we can put the code for the checkbox in here. Right in the timer ticked area. And let's see, which checkbox is this? This is checkbox 2. If checkbox 2 is checked, then simple enough. Do the same thing as the button above. Else, do nothing. And basically, if we click this, it's going to write to our health every second, which, should be enough to keep us alive. So let's say for a minute that, before we test this on the console, we are going to test this on the console. There's one or two other things I want to show you. First off, you can change the name of the form. So I'll just name this crappy RTE Fool tool because this is an example. Another thing that you can do as well to make it so people can't minimize or change the form, is you can go and look at the options here, maximize and minimize box, set those to false. Oops. You don't have to do this. This is just something you can do. And notice those options actually disappear over here after you do that. Everything that I'm showing you that you can do is, at this point, this is completely optional. You can go here to an icon and then select an ICO file and make it a picture that appears like in the top left-hand corner. So see, appears right there, and it would appear in the bottom bar down here. So there's something we haven't done that will make our tool wonky if we don't fix it. See how this is a problem? This looks like crap when you can do that. As you can see, this is clearly not what we meant our tool to look like, but it looks a little ridiculous. We can fix that. So here's what we can do. It should be in here somewhere. There's a few options that you can check. You can set the design to locked. And then when you do that, try it again. It's not locked yet. We have to do one more thing. I'm trying to find it here. Go to the form border style, set to fixed tool window, and then boom, they can no longer change it. It looks exactly the way that you would want it to show up. Now, onto the console to test to see what this can really do for us. Okay, now that we're in game, let's test to see if the tool actually worked. Of course, for it to connect to your Xbox, you are going to have to be connected to the same Wi-Fi source, both the Xbox and the computer that you're using the tool on. So here I can just go click debug, start without debugging, and then before anything will work at all, you got to click connect so it connects to the console. If this pops up, just say allow access, check everything, connection successful. I'll move this out of the way. Now watch this. I'm going to go into our inventory, and then if I click the max money button, you get max money. That's the first thing that I can see. Second thing that I can see right now, let's go to our pistol. As you can see, we got 4 bullets now, so it's not on, but let's say I turn it on. Doesn't drop anymore. But then if I turn it back off, it starts to drop again. Okay. Now let's say I click a button to restore. Well, actually, no, let's not do that yet. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the item of my choice in the shop. So the first thing I do is I click this enable button, then I scroll down, click weapon 1. Then let's say I go purchase the handgun, and you see we got a grenade. Now let's say I change it to weapon 2. Choose the handgun again, incendiary grenade. Weapon 3. Matilda. And then a box of ammo. Okay, now I'm going to show you why you want a timer writing to your health versus just a box. Just like a clickable button. Okay, so I click the button, it heals me. But you see, that's the thing. That's okay simply because he's not attacking me a lot. But if I were to say, I don't know, do something that would get me hurt, like say pretty quickly, you see how in the right situation you could just get hit multiple times by an enemy before you hit the button and then you find yourself dying? Well, that's what the infinite health timer is for. So now we take a look, we get hit by an enemy, and see, we get hit by the enemy, almost immediately jump back up, and then get hit by a rocket launcher. Hit myself, took absolutely 0 damage with that because the infinite health kicked in before anything could happen. It would have possibly killed me otherwise. Alright, well, I actually think that's enough. I think I've showed what I need to show there. Alright. Now, whenever you end up being happy with your tool and you want to, kind of finish the job, what you do is you go, you make a folder for it. So, like say, let's make a folder for our tool. go to Build, Publish, and then you navigate to the folder. So I'm going to navigate to the folder that I called Tool. Then Finish. It's going to build the tool. Ah, crap, I see what's going on. Make sure the tool is closed before you do anything. Make sure that tool is closed, because things can happen otherwise. Now it gives you a setup exe file to install the tool that you made. You click it, install, gives you a tool right here, but you're not going to want to have to do that every time. You don't want to install it every time. You want to just have something that works and that you can give to other people. So here's how you do that. You go to Run, go to percent app data percent. Oops, wrong area. Go to Local, go to Apps 2.0. Should be a random string of characters, and then let's see, it's 10:15 in the morning, so we'll go and find whichever one had the most recent, and considering we were working with Form 11, we just delete all these files right here, pull them out, and then now you have a tool that you can give to pretty much anyone online and redistribute with ease. All they have to do is run the exe file and everything works from there. There's only one other thing that I'd like to cover before I got off, and that's how to read from memory. So I didn't bring this up in the video. I felt like Resident Evil 4 was the best kind of thing to showcase most of it. But you remember how I made that function that copied where the ammo was in memory? Let's say, for this case, we were writing this address to 8254 right here, 82504. How would I read that? Well, that's actually pretty easy. You just go, do this, copy this code, and it works. However, that just gets you the value. It doesn't let you write back to it. So how do you write back to it? Simple enough. You copy this down here, write what you want to write, let's say OX7F, and then boom, lets us write right to the value. This works pretty well for, say, pointer addresses or finding something wherever you would need to. But yeah, pretty simple overall. Yeah. Other than that, that's really all I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope this ends up helping you out a lot. The only other thing that I'd like to say is please don't, I know I've showed you how to do things, but please don't use what I've showed you to ruin online games. If you want to do things online, do them on co-op games and do them with people that, actually consent to you doing things like that in the lobby. And do things that just help people. Don't, go and make tools that hurt people on purpose. Because, I mean, you can do that with what I've shown you. But please, just don't be a terrible person, is what I'm saying with this. And honestly, avoid multiplayer games too. I wouldn't give yourself an unfair advantage. Just use this to enhance fun. Don't use this to ruin anyone else's experience. That's all I ask after showing you all of this. Well, I mean, I know I can't tell you what to do. We're all adults here, most likely. So whatever you run and do is whatever you run and do. But nonetheless, hopefully we can all just be good people here. All right, rant over. Sorry about that. Anyways, guys, I hope you kind of like what you've seen. Take care.